Good morning. Thank you so much for waking up with us here on the Good Morning Show. I'm Stacey Spivey working from home. Kandace Red is in the studio this morning. Kandace, so great to have you in the studio. When was the last time you were even in there?
Stacey, you know what? I was just speaking with our executive producer about that, and I can't even recall the last time I was able to walk into the News 2 building. But of course, I'm so happy to be here inside the building. Of course, obviously safely, socially distancing, Stacey.
Yeah, and that's why I am still working from home, and we are staying separated throughout the building to stay safe.
Exactly. Well, once again, good morning to you all. And today is Thursday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Oh, I'm so excited about that as well. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the forecast. Well, you can expect rough weather today. The News 2 weather team is tracking a strong cold front moving across the country. Well, it's going to bring high wind and heavy rain to our area, including the possibility of severe thunderstorms. Well, the low today is 42 and the high is 61. Christmas will be cold and windy, followed by a cold weekend. But in about 30 minutes, Taran Kirksey will join us with a closer look at your holiday forecast. Well, Forsyth County health leaders are working out their plans for the vaccine. They say it's the best Christmas present. Well, the county is in the process of vaccinating workers who will then give the vaccine to others. Then they'll move on to the first responders and long-term care facilities. The first shipment of 2,800 Moderna doses arrived Tuesday.
It's been a long road and there's still a ways to go. This is glad to see that we now have something that can prevent this virus.
Well, Swift says vaccinations will pause for the next 2 days and will resume on Monday. After healthcare workers, nursing homes are next. Well, the state plans to start vaccinating these facilities next week. Clamp Nursing Home is one of the triad homes hit hard by the pandemic. Well, state leaders reported 2 outbreaks earlier this year. 97 people tested positive and 24 people died. Well, News 2's Marissa Tansino says families can't wait to hug their loved ones again.
It'll be great because, like I said, we're all huggers and it's been really difficult.
Families looking forward to the moment.
Now, this is the way to start your Christmas Eve morning, right? Okay, so take a listen to this. A Christmas miracle for one family, inspired by a holiday classic. Well, Doug Henning dressed as Buddy the Elf when he met his biological dad. Wow. Well, he always knew he was adopted, but his father, Raw, didn't know he had a son. Well, Doug wasn't able to connect with his dad until he did a DNA test. Well, that got him in touch with a close relative. They were able to spend Thanksgiving together once it was safe to meet in person.
He not only gained a son, he has 2 granddaughters now, which is awesome.
Says he thought it was appropriate to dress like Buddy the Elf because their story so closely resembles the movie's plot. Well, there's a lot to get to in your national news this morning. Well, President Donald Trump announced 26 new pardons yesterday. Well, it included former advisor Roger Stone, former campaign manager Paul Manafort, and his son-in-law's father, Charles Kushner. Well, all eyes, however, are on the coronavirus relief bill after the president released this video and criticized plans for the second stimulus check.
Increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000.
The bill passed with a veto-proof majority, but the president could veto it anyway, delaying any stimulus checks getting in the hands of the people who need it most. And again, your full holiday forecast is next. We'll find out more about the expected high wind and heavy rain. Well, the Good Morning Show will be right back. Well, tomorrow morning, we know that it's going to be Christmas Day, and most people will be waking up to presents under the Christmas tree. But once you open the gifts and crumple the wrapping paper, you might want to think twice before trying to recycle it. Well, our CBS News partners in Virginia explain.
Whether you're wrapping gifts,
Coming up in your entertainment news, say goodbye to 2020. The marvelous Mrs. Maisel star is bringing a new comedy to your screen. And don't miss the first sneak peek. Well, the Good Morning Show will be right back after this break. It's a blessing for the entire community. Well, a Mebane church is taking inspiration from the story of Christ's birth as they help their community. Well, here's what the Giving Manger is all about. The church is filling this trough with canned goods, toiletries, clothes, cleaning products, and more. It's all free to anyone who needs it. Well, Mebane United Methodist says they just want to be a blessing. The Giving Manger will remain open through Christmas.
The Good Morning Show continues at 5 a.m. with your morning headlines and a look at weather.
And once again, as you mentioned, a look at the windy weather moving in this afternoon and sticking around into your Christmas morning. Well, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Coming up on the Good Morning Show, Christmas is a few days early for some frontline workers here in the Triad. The latest on the second COVID-19 vaccine as hospitals break new records.
Well, 'twas the night before Christmas. Many families are gathering together a bit differently this year, but some Christmas Eve traditions remain the same. Well, let us know your traditions. Text us at 336-379-5775.
A lot of rain on the way today, and we could even see a couple of stronger storms as well. We'll detail your forecast coming up in just a few moments.
And thanks as always for joining us. You're watching the Good Morning Show. It's 5 a.m. on this Christmas Eve. I'm Kandace Red alongside Stacey Spivey and Taran Kirksey, and it's not the holiday forecast we're hoping for, or rather that we're hoping to see for the holidays. So let's just go ahead and jump right in there, Taran, with what we can expect.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, I know a lot of folks have.
Well, a rainy start to the Christmas Eve holiday. I'll be sure to keep my coat and umbrella close, Taran. Thank you. Well, we're keeping a close eye on the nasty weather hitting the Triad later today. We'll make sure you download the News 2 weather app for updates on the forecast. Well, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley posted what to expect today. Tips: if you still have that inflatable Frosty outside, he's about to be your neighbors down the block if you don't bring him in. State leaders understand you want to spend Christmas with your extended family, so Governor Roy Cooper and the Health Department released guidelines for holiday celebrations. Well, they urge you to keep it small, wear a mask, and stay 6 feet apart. Also, gather outside if possible and avoid hugging and shaking hands. And you can find the full list of tips on WFMYnews2.com. Switching gears here, a Triad woman is spending Christmas alone this year after testing positive for the virus. Well, Michelle Jordan tested for the virus on December 16th. The only symptom she had was a fever. Well, she's keeping a positive attitude despite spending the holidays alone. Well, Jordan says FaceTime and her positive outlook is doing a world of difference.
I'm in quarantine for Christmas by myself, and my sister just drove 2.5 hours to drop off presents on my porch, so I was crying for a minute.
North Carolina's Dr. Mandy Cohen says if you do plan on traveling or gathering with loved ones, you should have gotten tested beforehand. Only 5 months into the job now, UNCG leaders are looking for a new provost. You got that right. Well, the university says it removed Jim Coleman from his post, quote, due to behavior that did not meet expectations for senior leaders at UNCG, end quote. Well, Coleman will continue teaching biology at UNCG. Dr. Terry Shelton is the vice chancellor for research and engagement. She'll serve as interim provost effective immediately.
We could all use a little Christmas magic right now, whether it's a surprise gift or an unexpected friendship.
And that's how a sweet relationship formed between a little girl and her so-called Christmas fairy. Well, Steve Hartman shows us how a simple fairy garden is the key to a beautiful friendship here.
Kelly Kenny was walking in her Los Angeles neighborhood one.
Wow, what a wonderful story. Stacey, I'm going to be honest, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. I'm trying to keep my eyelashes from falling off because that was just too touching. I mean, it's so much going on with 2020, and to be quite honest, you never really know what's going on in people's personal life or what they could possibly be battling. And then imagine you come across a garden decide to leave a note, or even with the little girl who decides to read the note, and then all of a sudden it becomes pen pals, and then they get to meet in person, obviously with social distancing, of course. But Stacey, again, I'm just trying to hold back the tears to keep my eyelash glued together.
Girl, I'm right there with you, especially since I'm pregnant. The emotions are just even higher, and I just cry all the time these days. But wow, such a sweet story of just the magic that is out there. I mean, I think that it's still truly, you know, a thing, especially this time of year. And we all need stories like that right now in our lives.
So true, well said. I just can't wait for my own personal Christmas magic. Hopefully Santa will bring me something, who knows, tomorrow if I'm on the good list, I hope. But of course, we'll be right back after the break. Be sure to stay with us.
Normally driving around, you may be avoiding potholes, trash, debris, but a Christmas present? Well, a tow truck driver named Scott Gill thought the car ahead of him was just avoiding a piece of trash.
But you know what? It wasn't. Thankfully, Gill was able to save the present before someone damaged it. Okay, so he found the package in the road along Highway 64 on his way to Lexington. He says he felt convicted to find the rightful owner.
Somebody's Christmas present, somebody took the time to wrap it beautifully, box it, get it, or make it.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. It is right at 5:30 on Christmas Eve. I am Stacey Spivey working from home. Kandace Red joins us in the studio, and Taryn Kirksey is in our second studio. And we got to get first to weather because we are going to experience some possible storms today. Taryn, it's already been pouring outside at my home, and I'm wondering, is Santa gonna make it okay tonight?
Well, thankfully Santa's sleigh can handle all types of weather, so he's gonna be okay. The reindeer are pretty
Focusing on facts, not fear, the second COVID-19 vaccine arrived in Guilford County yesterday. Again, we know that hundreds of healthcare workers received the first dose of the Moderna vaccine. Healthcare workers are part of the 1A group to get vaccinated first in our state. They will wait 4 weeks to get the second dose of the vaccine. Phase 1A also includes long-term care staff and residents in skilled nursing facilities and group homes. There's another way to help get food on the table next week. Trinity AME Zion Church is holding a food giveaway, where the church is giving away food and prepared meals. It's free to everyone in the community. Stop by the church on Monday, December 28th from 1 to 3 p.m. The church is on East Florida Street in Greensboro.
The holiday is the one time of year when many of us allow ourselves to splurge on sweets and other unhealthy options without feeling guilty. In fact, research shows the average person eats more than 7,000 calories on Christmas Day.
Okay, look, I'll be honest. I think I'm probably doing that every day, Stacey, but get this, with those numbers being mentioned, that's more than 3 times the U.S. Department of Agriculture's recommended daily caloric intake, including indulging a little during the holiday season won't hurt, but you might want to consider planning ahead for special meals that are healthy too. Well, again, Chef Najai Dickerson is with the American Heart Association, and this morning he's offering tips to help you and your loved ones eat for a heart-healthy holiday.
The first thing you want to do is make sure you control your portion.
With 2 COVID-19 vaccines now available to the public, there's bound to be a lot of questions.
Like, what are the side effects? Well, there are some claims going around about the vaccine reactions. Some are true, others are not. Well, here's Jason Puckett taking a closer look at what you could experience.
There's a lot of noise and
And could this be one of the most repeated lines of the year? This ornament is a computer with the phrase, "I think you're on mute," written across it. I mean, how many times have we heard that this year, Kandace? I love this. Seeing all the different Christmas ornaments that are 2020 inspired. I've seen a lot of people posting ones that have toilet paper and hand sanitizer and things like that. You know, even though it's been a very difficult year, at least we can look back and kind of giggle about it now.
Yes, definitely something to laugh at. By the way, I feel personally attacked with that last one. My Zoom mic, for some reason, always ends up not on mute. And I don't know what's going on. I need to get more tech savvy, if you will, considering the digital age of everything. Taran, what are your thoughts about all of this with 2020 and the holiday season? By the way, do you ever get caught with your mic not on mute?
No, usually it's on mute. I really don't have anything worthwhile to say most of the time when I'm in any Zoom call, so I try to keep it muted as much as possible and then, you know, quietly make my exit. But as far as seeing those ornaments, I mean, I think it's good to have a good sense of humor, you know. And I even saw one that was like a dumpster fire ornament, and it said "Goodbye 2020." So I thought that was pretty funny as well. So, you know, sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying and just keep a good attitude about it and keep it moving. But definitely like to see funny stuff like that. Those ornaments were hilarious.
Yes, exactly. They do say laughter can be the best medicine, as well as with the face mask. I think that's pretty cool, right? Hanging them on the tree. But I will like to mention that with my Charlie Brown Christmas tree, the face mask ends up being a little bit bigger than the tree. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm Stacey Spivey working from home. Kandace Redd and Taran Kirksey are holding down the fort at the WFMY News 2 studio on this Christmas Eve.
And we've got your holiday headlines in just a few minutes, but first, the weather. Taran, is going to get windy today, right?
That's right. It's going to be windy, wet, and warm.
In other news today, holiday travel is expected to slow down after one of the busiest days for airports. The day before Christmas Eve is normally one of the busiest travel days of the holiday season, but with coronavirus, travel numbers are still a lot lower than in past years. Well, PTI says it expected 1,500 travelers to depart from the airport yesterday. There is now an easier way for residents in the Lake Jeanette area to get to PTI Airport. The latest stretch of the Greensboro Urban Loop is now open. Well, the 2-mile section between Lawndale Drive and North Elm Street opened yesterday afternoon. Crews only have one more section to complete to create a 49-mile loop around Greensboro. The final section is between North Elm and US 29. It's expected to open in early 2023. The time is 6:07. Lawmakers back at work on Christmas Eve as they discuss possibly giving more money to Americans in the next round of stimulus checks. Where those discussions currently stand, that's next in your national headlines. The Good Morning Show will be right back. Let's take a quick look at your national headlines. House Democrats say they will take action today to increase stimulus money that could soon roll out. Well, earlier this week, lawmakers passed a $900 billion COVID-19 relief bill. It included a $600 stimulus check for Americans. President Trump slammed the move and called for the stimulus checks to be worth at least $2,000. Well, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tweeted that a deal for a larger payout to Americans could be done by noon on Christmas Eve. However, it's still unclear if Senate Republicans are on board with the idea. Meanwhile, officials are working to get more vaccines delivered by the end of the year. Right now, doses of both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine are being shipped across the country. And an update from the leaders of the Operation Warp Speed, remember that's the government group distributing the vaccine, well, they say by the end of the year they expect 20 million doses of the COVID vaccine will be delivered. The delivery update comes as the U.S. government struck a deal to buy 100 more million doses of Pfizer's vaccine. Since it's December, celebrating outside may require a few things to keep everyone comfortable, right? Well, we know that once again, a fire pit is a good choice if you want to stay warm. If you're bothered by the smoke, a chimney might be more for you. They're designed to funnel that excess smoke up. But no matter your heat source, think before you light. Place fire pits or chimneys at least 10 and ideally 25 feet away from any structures. Keep the overhead area clear too. And if you want even more flexibility, consider a patio heater. These heaters can be less than $150 and may be found at local hardware stores. If you have a space heater, by the way, just make sure that you follow the same safety guidelines outside as you do in.
Never use a space heater outdoors with an extension cord. It poses a fire risk just like it would inside. Instead, plug them in directly and look for a model with a safety tip-over switch.
Consumer Report says a compromise to keep you out of the wind, a well-ventilated garage. Keep the door open, wear a face mask, and stay at least 6 feet apart. We have more tips on how to safely celebrate the holiday outside in the 2 Wants to Know section on WFMYnews2.com.
I'm Stacey Spivey working from home. Taryn Kirksey and Kandace Redd joining us in the studio this morning.
Good morning to the both of you, of course, and we have plenty ahead for you this half hour. But first, we have to start with the forecast and the strong storms headed our way today, right, Taryn?
Yeah, we have a pretty active weather day ahead of us.
Thanks, Taryn. The time right now is 6:31. Let's get you caught up with your news to note in 90 seconds. One more Triad healthcare workers are now vaccinated. The Guilford County Health Department received its first shipment of the Moderna vaccine yesterday. Well, 2,000 doses arrived. The vaccine process began quickly with healthcare workers getting the first shots. The county anticipated getting Moderna's vaccine instead of Pfizer's because it's easier to keep at an appropriate temperature. And for Forsyth County, vaccinations also continued as more doses of the Moderna vaccine arrived earlier this week. The county is vaccinating workers who will give the vaccine to others, like first responders and long-term care facilities workers and residents. The vaccination process will be paused today and tomorrow, but will pick back up on Monday. After just 5 months at the helm, UNC Greensboro has removed its provost. The university says it removed Jim Coleman from his post, quote, due to behavior that did not meet expectations for senior leaders at UNCG, end quote. Well, Dr. Terry Shelton is the vice chancellor for research and engagement. She'll serve as interim provost effective immediately. The city of Greensboro named its new fire chief. Well, Deputy Fire Chief Graham Jim Robinson III will serve as the next chief. City leaders picked him after a national search and interview process. He takes over for Chief Bobby Nugent when he retires on January 31st. Robinson says he's excited to lead the department and make it even better. And that's the look at today's news to note in 90 seconds. Well, as we know, the holiday is the one time of year when many of us allow ourselves to splurge on sweets. In fact, research shows the average person eats more than 7,000 calories on Christmas Day. Well, splurging every once in a while is okay, but there are things you can do to protect your overall health. Well, Chef Najai Dickerson is with the American Heart Association, and this morning he's offering tips to help you and your loved ones eat for a heart-healthy holiday.
The first thing you want to do is make sure you control your portion.
Well, Stacey, you have so much to look forward to with your bundle of joy, so I know that this is an exciting time for you. As for me, especially when it comes to the holiday season, I am obviously missing my family who's back at home in California, back on the West Coast, but I do plan on celebrating with them virtually. Taryn, do you have any plans for the holidays?
Well, you know, food is always the main main way I celebrate any holidays. So, you know, definitely a big Christmas meal has always been a part of my family's tradition, even when I was a kid growing up. So we'd eat good on Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day became kind of like a mini Thanksgiving with a nice spread out on the table as well. So that's kind of the plans that I have, and also doing some virtual celebrating with some of my extended family as well.
Wow, that sounds like a great time. You know what? I might actually try to bake some Christmas cookies myself. I have to just make sure I have the fire extinguisher handy because I know with my cooking skills, not really up to par. All righty, well, still ahead on the Good Morning Show, the most popular toys this Christmas, even harder to track down and get under the tree. How online shopping and a global pandemic are making it tough to find some of the hottest gifts. The Good Morning Show will be right back. Well, every Christmas season, the most popular toys fly off the store shelves and sell out, right? It happens all the time. But this year, a spike in online shopping is leading to a shipping backlog. Anna Werner reports on what this means for the chances of an empty box under the Christmas tree this year. Switching gears, a Triad tow truck driver is hoping to pull off a Christmas miracle. The big plan is to return a lost Christmas present to its rightful owner. Well, Scott Gill spotted the holiday gift when he was on Highway 64 in Lexington on Tuesday. He says it was perfectly wrapped and in the middle of the road. Well, his wife posted a picture of the gift on Facebook, hoping the person who lost it comes forward. Well, if you know who it may belong to, simply reach out to Gill or WFMY. Well, good news for kids eagerly waiting for Santa to drop by tonight, and also for adults too, where Governor Roy Cooper gave him an exemption from the statewide 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew.
We're going to make sure that he can make all of his rounds. So he will wear a mask, however. He's told me that he would.
Worry about your toys. Governor Roy Cooper says that the elves in the workshop washed their hands often, wore face masks, and stayed at least 6 feet apart. Their motto this year is, quote, stay on task and wear your mask.
And of course, all day we're going to keep you updated on those storms hitting the Triad. We're going to be tracking those storms as well as Santa's trip across the world. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Christmas Eve.
And as always, CBS This Morning is up next. Go out and get to it.